Okay, now it's time to try out our combustible paper cartridges. Uh, First ones I'm going to try out using our real nifty little box, carry them around in, are the ones that were made with the perm paper or the hairdresser's paper. And I dipped the tips of all of these in SPG bullet lube. Now it looks like they're starting to break apart a little. So I did the revolver, I did the cap snapping end of it. And let me get them down. Now there's no wad, no nothing. Just a paper cartridge, lube on the bullet, and all right, that's one. Yeah, these things are a bit on the frail side. I didn't quite perfect them that well. Hopefully the others that I made up will do better. And what I'm doing also is I want to check what kind of residue I get left with these cartridges. I brought a flashlight in that. I only got enough for about 3 cylinders of it. Alright, but you get the idea, so we'll cut till we get to the range. Okay, here we go with our first batch. And the way this camera is, I really can't see. I might have to change the camera angle here to the next one, but we're going to give this a try. Well, not too bad. Did see paper residue flying, so we'll go back to the bench. I'll show you the target, and then we'll go back to the bench. Okay, there's what we did, my offhand, 2 in the black, so really not a big effect on the accuracy. But let's go check and see what we got left in the chambers. Okay, looking down in the chambers with the sunlight, okay, there wasn't 2 cylinders. They all look fairly good, but this one has a little bit of paper residue in it. Okay, so there was some paper in there. The rest of them are fairly clean. And there was some that kind of blew out when I looked at the pistol. So it's not too bad, but it does leave a residue in there. So now I think I will get my ones made. Yeah, these are a bit wrinkly. These are the ones made on the Crossin cartridge former. They're a bit wrinkled, but they're made with the nitrated coffee filter. And also the geometry on this pistol. Okay, these are kind of tough to get in. Kind of angle them down. Then they get in there. I'll load up a bunch of these and we will go out and see what we end up with and see if there's anything, if I can find anything left in the cylinders once I'm done. That's the whole idea. But these are made with the crossing. They're a little bit, because they're too long, they're a little bit wrinkly, but they're made with the coffee filters that have been nitrated, and they used the glue stick. And I'm going to run 6 that use the glue on the paintbrush and see if that has an effect on the residue. One thing I did notice, to be honest, is even using 24 grains, like I said, when I put the coffee filters in there, I had 2 of the bullets that were doing that where the tip would strike, going all the way around. So I had to like take the pistol apart, re-ram it, get it down in there. So, you know, that becomes a problem. See, when you change something from the thinner paper to the thicker paper, maybe a different mandrel too, you know, again, you got to make adjustments so it ain't going too smooth. It's nothing wrong with the paper cartridge. I just believe the coffee filters add more bulk. I mean, they're heavier, they stay together better, and they're sturdier, but you may have to adjust the charge by a grain, knock it down to 23 grains. You know, it's further development, but it's something to pay attention to and know that for you guys to go running out here and go, hey, I watched your video and I did everything exactly like you said, and don't fit. And there will be a variance from gun to gun, depending on when they were manufactured and by who. So that's another thing. I guess there are people loading, 25, 26 grains in whatever cartridge they're making. But I found that just changing the paper throws that off. All right, so we're going to get out and shoot this off. Change the camera angle here. I can kind of see on the screen what's going on, but let's try this. This is with coffee filters. Now, aha! My front sight fell off. God damn. Now, front sight fell off the gun. Now I got to see where the hell that went. Oh well, it might end it for today. Alright, well, I did find the front sight, luckily. I was lucky, I found that sucker. Looks kind of like a homemade job or something somebody glued on there, I'm not quite sure. Gonna have to look at this a little later. It did look a little weird. Probably came off once. But, coffee filters. Using coffee filter paper, nitrated. Looking down in here, there isn't really any residue. You can look down in with a light and see at the base of the cylinder there's some stuff there. There's like a buildup. I don't know if it's normal fouling or not, I never really checked. But you can still see through and see the holes, or little pinhole for the cap on the nipple. So basically, that means if I put another cartridge in there, okay, with the hairdresser paper, there was in 2 cylinders a small remnant of paper, which if you stick another cartridge in, you may be pushing that unburnt paper over the hole. This one doesn't have anything. So the nitrated filters, you know, I think some of it too, some of the paper did kind of fall out. If there was anything left, it would fall out during the firing sequence. But nothing was left in any of the cylinders. Now I don't know if because that's seasoned and it's not sticking, but that looks like the way to go. I mean, you could use the other paper in that, but the coffee filters don't appear as of now. I got to make more cartridges to be 100% sure. But that's my feelings on it now. And yes, I did take this after I oiled it. I did go with a acetone, wipe off that cylinder and or the rod and the cylinder, and then put boar butter, just Thompson Center boar butter, that yellow stuff. Rub that all on there, and the gun does not seize up using the natural lubricant. Alright, but without the sight on there, I ain't going to screw around. I'll save the other cartridges for another day. See, now I was curious with the other ones, because I used the glue in the paintbrush, if that glue would leave a residue and not burn. See, that's what I'm looking to test. But the stick glue didn't really seem, you know, I used the stick glue on those. Didn't seem to affect it much. Okay? Alright then, until next time, I got to get some more repairs done on this and we'll get with it. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're in the cleanup phase for black powder pistol, and something nobody mentions is when firing these paper cartridges, they leave bits of paper built up inside the cylinder. Now I only fired 2. I fired the non-nitrated hairdresser paper, and like I said, when I loaded the second ones, I noticed my bullets weren't going all the way down and I was hitting on a couple of them. Well, I think the untreated paper left residue in there. You look down in there, it's all black. I mean, there was something in there. But let me show you what I found. I had to scrape it out with I had to take a pistol rod with a brass brush, and when I would go into the base, now that's after putting it in water, swishing it around, I would go with a brass brush and twist it, and this is what come out. Alright, this is what was lodged in about the base of every cylinder. This thing floated out, was in the water, but these are the ones I had to scrape out of the cylinder itself. Okay, you could see where there was a hole blown in there, where if you went with and loaded another cap, it would get past this thing. But these things were wadded up in there, and that's why the second round of bullets that I put in wouldn't seat all the way, and the little tips were banging on the barrel when you try to rotate the cylinder around. So just then, final thoughts. You know, because I'm not selling a product, I'm not selling a bullet mold, and I'm not selling the tools to make combustible paper cartridges. I am giving everybody a fair shake and testing out their stuff. And it is really neat and a real cool thing to do. And yes, you can load the gun way faster with them. Okay? But what we're going to do is we're going to get this perfected. I'm going to make up some cartridges, and I'm going to see how many I can go before the build up and that. Everyone's kind of omitting that factor. And I don't know, I use 2 different types. I use non-nitrated paper, you know, without the potassium nitrate, and I used nitrated paper. So I'm going to do some more further research, but I'm just giving you guys a heads up. It does leave a residue in there, and it could cause problems. So we're going to see. We're going to go out. Once I get some time and some of these cartridges made up, I'm going to see how many I can get out of the gun. And I get my front sight put the hell back on it. Alright guys, stay tuned.